Welcome, welcome. Point Horror Book Club, and we're in August. I always forget what month we're in. Hope you're all well. Just waiting for some people to join. Hello. Hi, Amelia. Hi, Georgia. I'll let you in a second. Hi. So we're going to be chatting. Hi, Karen. We're going to be chatting about Camp Fear. With the tagline, where your worst fears hide. I really like this one, so I'm really interested to see what all you guys think and what Georgia thinks. Hi, Leroy. So I'm going to add a brilliant author in, whose debut, Mark of the Wicked, came out a couple of weeks ago now. The cover for this is absolutely stunning, but it's Georgia Bowers. If you like witches and woodland and like magic, then this is the book for you. I've just started reading this and I'm loving it. So yeah, check Georgia's book out. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, guys. Right, I'll just add Georgia into the chat, hopefully, if I can do it right. She should be joining. Hi, Emma. Hopefully she'll be with us by the power. Yeah, oh my God.
I'm in a 10.
Oh, that's just perfection.
I bought a torch because
Wow.
apparently torches are just, the last thing on the list. But it doesn't have batteries, so...
Oh, wow. They did. I'm sure that they kept running out of batteries in Camp Fear, because them head counsellors kept going off everywhere every 5 minutes.
I know. Somebody needs to do some investigation into that camp, I think.
It needs to be shut down for health and safety. But thank you for joining me, and I can't believe you're in a tent. That was a real surprise, George.
Oh well, anything for you. I've been watching all of these, so I'm very excited to be here. And as you know, we did have a tent up in the garden anyway. So,
yes,
and actually, this is
pictures.
probably one of the quietest places in my whole house. So,
oh, no, that feeling.
I think I've made a mistake with the hat though, because if I get too hot, I can't take it off.
Oh, you can't.
Hat hair.
Oh no, yeah. Oh dear. We'll forgive you. If you get too hot, it doesn't matter.
Okay. I'm sweating.
So you were a fan of point horror when you were younger, when you were a teen. So
yes.
What made you, do you remember what drew you to point horror? And do you think it's influenced any of your writing as well?
Oh, massively. So I think a friend of mine got into point horror. I think her mum had bought her a couple from a bookshop, and then I mentioned it to my mum, and she was like, well, let's go to the library and we'll see if we can get some. I mean, the fact that it was called point horror didn't I was like quite a young teenager at the time. So we went off to the mobile library and I found The Babysitter. That was the first one that I read.
Yeah.
So of course, R.L. Stine, I was completely hooked. And then from then I was just like swapping them with my friend or just getting them by the bucket load from the library. But there's lots of them I don't remember reading Camp Fear. I don't think I did.
No, I don't remember, but I don't know why I didn't, because it's like everything that I would have loved.
Yeah, I think I was so strange and weird as a teenager. I still am, really. But I probably had a weird rule that I would only read point horror authors that had 3 names, like R.L. Stine, Caroline B. Cooney, and Richie Tankersley-Cusick, because I like things in 3. So because it's just Carol Ellis, she's just got 2 names.
I think that's what it was. I think you
possibly
hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
Because as I say, I don't remember reading it. But reading the blurb now, it sounds like everything that I would have loved.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't remember reading many of Carol Ellis's, but it was all the Stein and the Tankersley-Cusick books were my jam when I was a teen. So.
And I was absolutely fascinated with the idea of summer camps when I was younger, and America in general, and that's why point horror is so good, because you learn so much like what bangs are and what flannel is and all this sort of stuff. And I was just fascinated by the idea of camp. So I'm really surprised that I didn't go for this, because it would have been absolutely ideal. Or maybe it was just always out when I went to the library, so I never got my hands on it.
Yeah. I remember the cover and everything, but yeah, I don't know why. Crazy teen Shelley.
I know.
It mustn't have looked like there was like some dodgy boys in there or something, so I like passed it by. But yeah, welcome everyone who's joined.
Hi.
Hello. There will be spoilers ahead for Camp Fear. So if you haven't read it, or you don't want to know any spoilers, there will be spoilers. But if you're here and you're like, spoilers, I love them, I eat them for breakfast, then that's fine. But yeah, so what I normally do is, if you've got any comments, guys, just put them up and I'll try and scroll through and read them like we normally do. We try and have like a little book chat, a nice little book chat. So it's like a nice little point horror family. So what I'll do, I've done like a little summary. It was quite hard to summarise this book because obviously you've got the past and the future. Hi Amy, hi Marissa. Karen's put, I'm wearing my little ghost earrings today.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. So what's it all about? So Camp Fear. So tucked away in a woody, secluded mountain lies Camp Silverdale, where 6 campers who are around the age of 10 or 11 or 12, I think, leave their tents in search of firewood, but instead find a dead body wearing a royal blue shirt with silver letters saying Camp Silverlake. And not forgetting, there was a cute squirrel who was he was scared of all the screaming going on, really.
Yeah,
so I felt really sorry for the little squirrel. But yeah, that's what happened. So in the past, so this ominous opening of the book kind of sets the scene for the camp and what happened. So we flash forward to 7 years later, dum dum dum. And we find out that 5 of the counsellors that are working at Camp Silverlake now all know each other and have stayed on the camp before. So we kind of make that connection because it was 7 years ago. And then our story starts off with an ominous threat of revenge. I mean, you've got to love a point horror that starts off with a bit of a threat at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's the 20th anniversary of Camp Silverlake as well, and they've got these 10 shiny new counsellors, and they're all prepping the camp for all the small little campers to come in about 5 weeks' time for lots of summer fun. But will there be any counsellors left by the end? Some strange goings-on start, classic point horror style. With someone trying to scare the counsellors, and they're all connected to the event that happened 7 years prior, and their fears are going to be tested to the limit. I'm making it sound like really dramatic.
Oh no, that's quite the write up there.
So yeah, that's right. So we've got snakes, we've got potential drownings, cliff falls, wet leaves. I love that.
I know.
Targets being put on pictures on a bulletin board and running around the dark with no flashlights. So Georgia's all prepared today because she's got her flashlight.
And it's very heavy
for
hitting.
But our campers were not prepared to take flashlights anywhere.
No.
So I've put on here, tested their fears like Saw. It's like, no. Like a mild
version of Saw. Yeah.
So yes, I quite enjoyed it. I could have done with a little bit more blood and dead bodies.
You mean the leaves weren't enough for you?
I'll tell you, I'm going to use that trick on my husband, you know.
I was thinking, I'm sure they could have come up with something. And then I thought, actually, if I got into sleeping bag and it had wet leaves in the bottom, I think I would probably freak out.
Yeah.
But it was still very random.
Yeah,
Very random.
yeah. But it was like such a good prank, I think, that they were going to play. It's like, let's get the leaves, all the wet leaves, and put them in, and then they'll feel like slugs. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna use that at some point. So yeah, so our main character then, Rachel Owens.
Yeah.
What did you think of Rachel, Georgia?
I quite liked Rachel. I thought she was very resourceful, and to kind of come into this camp, if that was me and I went to join this camp of counsellors and I realised they all knew each other before, I'd be like, oh no. But she's just like, yeah, going with the flow. And I think she's got quite a good sense of self. She knows herself quite well. And I love that there's a few moments where she gets nervous or a bit like, there's a bit of silence. So she just starts babbling. And there's a few like, I think if they had LOL back then, she would have been someone to use it. Because she's just sort of like, okay, I'll just keep talking. And then maybe the weird groundskeeper might say something. So yeah, I can relate to her. I did like her as a leading point horror character.
Yeah, I really liked her. I mean, she had a fear of stage fright, but like she put herself into like every situation possible.
Yeah.
And I love the way that, like, at the beginning as well, like, I mean, it was said that she had like green eyes and like curly hair, but apparently the hair was like limp because of the mountain air.
Yes.
It was like, I just go the opposite way.
I do. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was the other way round.
It must be us. But you should see me. I look, oh my gosh, I have to like tame it in.
I know. That's when you need a hat.
Yes, you came prepared.
I did, because of the mountain air.
But yeah, she was very observant, and I liked the way how she like went round the campfire and like gave us a little bit of goss about like all the other campers.
She told us all we needed to know because she described their hair colour. So we needed to know that's all we needed to know about each character was their hair colour, and then we could make up our minds about their personalities.
Yes. Cynthia's put, I'm in Camp Limp Hair. So we've got a limp hair. So if you're Camp Limp Hair, let us know. If you're Camp Fuzzy Hair.
No, I've lost you.
This has gone down a weird route. Oh, you're back.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, so is it Camp Limp Hair? What's the other one? Wild Hair?
Camp Limp Hair. Let's go Camp Wild Hair.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I think Raj is Camp Wild Hair. So.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I admired Rachel a lot for her bravery as well. So she did throw herself into situations, and especially when Stacey was like drowning in the boat. I mean, I'm laughing, but it could have like...
It was hilarious.
She's got her foot like Stacey, who we'll talk about in a bit. She got her foot like stuck in the boat, the rotten boat. And then like Rachel was like, I'll save you, and like swimming. Although, did you notice? She's like swimming to save her, but then she's like, oh, I need to float on my back a couple of times. And I'm like, I presume that was to conserve energy.
Possibly. But I'm like the least comfortable in water. Like that's my least comfortable state. So I would have just been running to find the others, and she probably would have drowned, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh dear, it was so funny, that scene though. But yes, right, and then she went like under the water to try and like break the wood to save Stacey. And
did she think she was going to punch through the water?
Slow
motion into the wood to break it. But it was fine. It was fine because she managed, when she bobbed back up, it was all okay, wasn't it? And the others were there. So because I didn't like that bit. It was making me really really claustrophobic.
Yeah, but it was like that whole scene as well, because they'd like left Stacey. Like, I'm jumping to Stacey a bit because I did kind of like her, but they left Stacey sunbathing because she couldn't be bothered to go for a hike. And then when they came back, they didn't even notice that she was
gone.
missing.
No, but before they went, when she was sunbathing, and she was like, it's so hot here. And they were like, why don't you go and sunbathe in that boat where there's...
Yeah.
Because it's in the shade. Not next to the boat. Just put your chair or your blanket next to the boat, Stacey, because we know you don't like the water. And like my personal experience, like I said, I'm not very comfortable in the water, so I'm always thinking what could possibly happen.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, no, because the boat is clearly going to float into the lake, so I'm not going to do that. I'll just stay here. I've got my factor 50. I'll be all right.
Yeah, not Stacey. She just does whatever, really, doesn't she? But yeah, another Karen's put about the leaves that we were talking about before. I think the leaves would only work on kids. As an adult, I wear about 7 layers of pajamas to keep toasty, so I'd never notice the leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, I would fall for the leaves. That would scare me.
I think I would, because I always, even when I wrap up warm, I have to take my socks off. So it would still be a bit of a shock, I think. Or like getting up in the night and then like stumbling to the bathroom and you look down and there's like just all these brown things on your
Oh no!
bottoms.
Oh no!
Anyway.
Yeah, I would scream. Yeah, and also with Rachel,
I think I'd just be really confused. Like, what have I been doing? Where have I been?
I think I would like look down. I love how like we're like really analysing leaves now, but I would like look down and be like confused, scream. Oh, I'd probably do what Rachel did and like turn like the bathroom light on, scream, turn it off again, so that I can't see what's going on. Oh dear, but yeah, it would be very confusing. But yeah, it would scare me, and I probably wouldn't go back to sleep after either. But yeah, I loved as well how Rachel as well. She wasn't fazed by the fact that the snake, the decapitated snake, was like left on her bed with like a knife. So she's just like bags up the snake
in a paper bag.
Knife.
In a paper bag. Did I read that right? A paper sack.
I think it was like I think that's the only thing she could find in
but
there.
I feel like she didn't scoop it up in the. She's planning on using the bedspread or the sleeping bag. She's going to carry on sleeping on it. That the snake's been dead on, so she doesn't want to use that.
She didn't like scoop the blanket up.
That's what I would have done. I would have been like, and I'm just picturing this like brown paper bag that you get from the fruit market. Like trying to get the snake inside. Ooh, there we go.
Oh, God help if that was me, because I'm half blind, so I've got no depth perception. So me trying to get a snake in a bag wouldn't work.
Oh my goodness.
It'd be going like all over the place. Oh dear. Bless her. But can you imagine her with like that paper bag? And then this knife, and then she like goes charging across the camp. She must have looked like some serial killer.
Was it Terry? Terry came in. Was it Terry? Or
yes, Linda? I think it was Terry.
And she was like,
"What are you doing?
Eyes. What are you doing?" She's just like putting the snake in the bag. What are you doing? And then Terry's like, "I'm going to leave you to it. This is too weird for me."
Yeah, Lee always put, oh my God, yes, Terry's like, what are you doing with my bag? You could ask. I'm just putting a decapitated snake in there, you know.
She was like, I was going to put some fruit in that. Anyway.
Oh God, I can imagine. Oh dear. Emma put, what did she put in there? Put it in there with, did she use her hand? Yeah, well, I think she definitely,
I think
didn't
so.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she was just like rolled her sleeves up and was like, got to get rid of this. Got to get rid of this snake.
Oh God, I could just imagine her walking around camp like with this knife. Oh, imagine if you saw her coming, you'd be like, back away. Oh dear. So she gave she had a bit of a thing going on as well, Rachel did, with so she gave Paul the like flirty eyes over the campfire, as you do.
Yeah.
And then she kind of like edged her bets a bit and flirted with Jordan.
Jordan.
We'll talk about him in a minute.
Yeah.
But she knew her own mind, and I really I did a little cheer when Jordan was trying to get her to go for the walk, and she was like, no, and he like misunderstood. what she'd said, and she's like, no, I don't actually want to go for a walk with you. I was like, for a point horror girl like that,
good on you,
I
Rachel.
Respect her. Yeah, respect
definitely,
her.
definitely.
Hi, Kev. So what else have I made about Rachel? The light on and off made me laugh. That I mentioned that, you know, when she heard, like, she turned the light on, heard the scream, which was Steve. Was it Steve? Steve with the
with
thing,
the snake.
then turn the light back off again. I would so do that. It's something I would do. I think I actually understood Rachel.
Yeah, I think it was the bit when she was it who was scared of heights? Was it Steve? No. No, Steve was the snake.
There were so many characters in this
and they
book.
Two of them had very similar names, two of the male characters, Mark and Paul.
Mark was scared of heights, wasn't
he? Was called Mark James. I think the author must have been just like, I can't think of any more names.
Can't be bothered.
Just call him Mark James. So yeah, when he like freezes because he's scared of heights, and he's like, I'm tying my knot, I'm tying my shoelace.
Tying my lace.
She's like, don't get yourself in knots over it.
That is so something I would say.
Know, me too. And this person's like quivering, and she's like, just throwing the jokes out there.
But he wasn't just quivering either, was he? His eyes like changed colour because of the fear. Oh dear. Fun fact. Oh, Leroy's put.
Yeah, Mark James is your husband.
Sorry.
It's a lovely name.
It is a lovely name. Yeah. We're so sorry. No Mark James were harmed in the Point Horror Book Club.
No.
Rachel was also we've really gone off.
I know, sorry.
No, it's good. There's like a little fly flying around. I'm so sorry. It's like keeps going in my way. It's like I'm in camp. So she was put in charge of the bulletin board as well. Rachel. I know I keep going on about Rachel. I know,
but honestly, this is the one thing where I did lose my patience with her a bit.
Yeah. So she found all these photos, put them on the board, including a picture of Johnny, who's the boy who died 7 years ago, which obviously she didn't know until too late.
Yeah.
But the amount of time she kept saying, I need to go and take the photo down off the board. No.
I must take that photo down. But actually, again, I could relate to her again, because it's like walking past, like, you know, some mess in the house. I must tidy that up. I must put it away. And you just never do. You never do. And,
Oh, I don't know whether we've lost you. Are you still there? Oh, it's all right. You broke up a little bit then. I missed that bit, Georgia. What did you say? Oh, no, Georgia.
Oh, no.
Are you still there? Oh, yeah, you're back.
Oh, hello. Sorry.
We missed that, what you said. Sorry.
Every time she said it, I was just like, Rachel, take the damn photo down, mate. Like, I know you've got a lot going on because you're doing a lot of cleaning up and
cooking.
Collecting dead snakes in paper bags and that. But I mean, if she can do that, really, she should be able to go and take the picture down.
Yeah, I think she just did it on purpose. She just
I think she's probably wanting to see who was next.
Yeah.
And who? Because for a bit, I was like, who? You know, maybe it's her doing it. I don't know.
Yeah,
she just seemed completely unfazed by a lot of these things. So
yeah, no. Cynthia's put she loves the photo trope.
Yeah,
I do like that as well. It's like mysterious photo in a box.
She should have checked people's fingers as well for ink marks.
Oh yeah. Well, you get a free black marker when you join Camp Silverlake.
Yeah.
So I made that up. That wasn't in the book. So I'll move on from Rachel to the love interest who was Paul Sidney. They all
Another
really like
really, very similar names.
Oh, we better stop. I hope no one's husband's called Paul.
Sorry,
Sidney.
Paul Sidney. We're big fans, really.
So yeah, he was our dark brown-haired, hazel-eyed, good-looking love interest. He had eyes for Rachel from the beginning. He was quite serious, but apparently underneath he had like a bit of a good sense of humour buried deep inside. And he was like a bit of a people watcher as well, a bit like Rachel. But he soon won her over by opening up and having those heartfelt log conversations about what happened before.
A dead boy.
About a dead boy. How romantic.
Yeah, got to tell you something, Rachel.
But she kept like, I mean, I get that it was for the story, don't get me wrong, but she kept like saying, oh, I must remember, I forgot to like finish my conversation with Paul.
Yeah.
So I must go back and talk to him. So that was either like clever so that she could go back and like have some more Paul time, or it was just
she's forgetful. That's why she keeps forgetting about the picture as well.
Yeah, I think they were quite a good match, her and Paul, though.
Yeah.
What did you think of Paul? Did you think he was a good point horror love interest?
He was all right. He was a bit forgetful. Like, I can't really remember any major scenes between them. I know Jordan was awful. I mean, and the first time we meet Jordan, he's waving his pink marshmallow in her face.
Was it a pink marshmallow though? It was never clarified.
I was just like, no. And then we see him again, and he tucks her hair behind her ear.
Oh,
and
that was
just
weird.
Yeah, he's just got like, he doesn't know about, personal space. So yeah, but I was just like, as long as she's not with Jordan, she can go with Paul or Mark, whichever is which.
Oh dear, Emma's put Paul was a wet noodle.
Oh, he was.
He really was. But Jordan, yeah, like, while we're talking about him, we might as well just like rip the plaster off and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
So he had a fear of making decisions. I mean, oh my gosh, like that end when the gun's being pointed at people, and she's like, oh, spoiler for who the killer was, what the reveal was.
We haven't even mentioned
I know, I'll go back. We've done well so far, not to say. But yeah, when she was like pointing the gun and she's like, decide which one should I shoot, and he's like, but I'm quite indecisive, so I was like, that would be me.
Yeah. And I was a bit confused by when Linda, the redhead, she was the redhead, wasn't she? She chucked herself down the cliff. She'd fallen down the cliff. And Jordan went to get help, and they were like, where did you go? And he was like, and I really didn't understand that bit. I was like really thrown by that, because I thought, is he in on it with somebody?
That's what I thought.
What was he scared of? Making a decision of who to go to for help, or whether to get a rope, or whether to, call the fire brigade. I don't know.
Can you imagine him like running off into the woods, and he's like, oh no, I don't know which way to go. I'm so indecisive. It's
I can't make a decision. I just can't. It's too much pressure. But I'll go back. I'll go back there.
I'll go back and just rub it in their faces that they're still down the cliff.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh, but he was a character, Jordan. So I think he was like set up to be like a good point horror boy, because he had like blonde hair, like thick blonde hair. And
I believe it was sandy hair, wasn't it?
Oh, was it sandy hair?
Possibly.
And he had a little dimple in his cheek,
just
and
one.
Blue teasing eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, at the beginning, I must have missed that marshmallow thing. I can't believe I missed that.
I think, hold on, let me just see if I can find it. Oh no, I didn't take it's like on one of the first pages, because I was a bit distracted when I first, oh yeah, look. She yawned again, squeezing her eyes shut. When she opened them, she saw a charred marshmallow about 6 inches from her nose. It was on the end of a stick. The hand holding the stick belonged to a guy named Jordan Hurley. And then, do you know what he said? Pure sugar.
Oh, no.
And then he said, it'll help you keep awake.
Oh. No. Oh, no.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
But I think he must have had a thing for sticks, you know, because he was waving a stick around when Steve found the snake, and he was like holding the stick then as well.
Yeah, he was. Sorry, I've just realised as well that in my head I made the marshmallow pink, so that probably says more about me than
That was your dirty mind, Georgia.
reading too much into it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, he did like a stick, didn't he? I've got this stick, I'll be fine.
Yeah, he did love a stick.
Filth. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, Karen put, are there any point hovers where the protagonist is also the villain? Yes. I know of 2, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I think Cynthia, who's in the comments, knows one of those books. I think. If I'm right. I mean, I have got a bit of a bad memory. So I feel like I've bigged that up a bit, but yeah. Yeah, so did I write anything else out about Jordan other than that about his stick? It was mainly the stick and the walk.
Yeah, he was very inappropriate, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't like him tucking her hair behind her ear.
No.
That's a really weird thing to do, Jordan.
Yeah. Well, it's lucky that we didn't read April Fool's, Georgia, because if you'd read Frank in April Fool's, you would have been not happy.
I don't think I remember him. I've just realised as well, Jordan, when he tucks her hair behind her ear, he says something along the lines of, "I don't want you to think I'm a bad guy," which is, I believe that's the motto of the Bad Guys Club.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah. So.
She made the right decision then. So we're saying she made the right decision. I can't speak.
Oh, Cynthia's saying the roommate.
Maybe. These lips don't tell. That's looked really creepy then. So she made the right decision sticking with Paul. So we'll go with that. Should we talk about Steve?
Steve and the snake.
Steve and the snake. So his fear, which he told everyone about, was the snakes. So everyone who knew everybody knew he didn't like snakes. And then lo and behold, a snake gets put in his... Was it in his sleeping bag or on his sleeping bag?
I don't know whether I think it must have been on, because it's there. I was going to do this with a snake. That's more like an emu. But it was there when they all run in. He's like there and the snake's there, isn't it? Poised. So I'm guessing that it's on top of the sleeping bag.
Yeah, it was a rattlesnake.
It was a rattlesnake. How did the villain get a rattlesnake in there? Maybe in a paper bag. Carried it in a paper bag.
Well, the villain went and fished it out the bin afterwards to put it in Rachel's room.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh dear. Oh, no. But I'm actually scared of snakes. Like that is my fear, because when I was younger, we used to have this bungalow down in the woods. It was in the middle of the woods, and I was standing on the step and a snake just went straight over my feet. And then that, obviously as a young child, that just terrified me. So now I'm like, no.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
So, yeah, so I would be like Steve and apparently scream like an animal.
Yes.
To get everyone's attention. I mean, I think everyone heard that scream.
Yeah, because even Mr. Drummond came, didn't he? He came after.
Oh, Mr. Drummond. Oh, when he came in with his shovel. Oh, look at me, I'm getting all like...
Oh!
Mr.
Drummond Appreciation Society.
He worked that shovel like no man has ever worked a shovel before, with the snake. But he didn't say a lot, Mr. Drummond, did he? Really?
He didn't.
But, yeah.
I was expecting more from Mr. Drummond. I was thinking potential, obviously, potential villain, but also I was expecting a bit of a like the neighbour in Home Alone style.
Ride, that would have been so good.
Yeah, I was expecting that, for him to kind of come in and be like, I may be weird, but I'm a good guy at the end. But he did.
Yeah.
He just. Do you know what he did do though? He came and took the gun off of her, and he was like, "It's all right. Don't keep it loaded. That would be dangerous." Do you know what else is dangerous, Mr. Drummond? Keeping a room full of flipping shotguns and rifles in a summer camp.
Has he never watched like summer horror camp films?
Apparently not. Apparently not.
Oh dear, yeah. He was. Bless him. I feel he was misunderstood.
He was very misunderstood, but I think like Rachel sort of gave him a bit of a chance, didn't she? Because she was like, maybe if I spoke to him, he might turn out to be a nice guy. Yeah.
Bless him.
And he seemed very calm about the snake in a paper bag situation, and he was just like, just next time bury it deep. Don't just put it in the bins. Bury it underground.
I feel like he was so underused. We need like a point horror just about Mr. Drummond.
I'd like to see Mr. Drummond at a summer camp when he was
in his younger days.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been good.
At one point I thought that Johnny might be his son.
That did cross my mind.
Yeah, he was very moved by the picture, wasn't he, when he was like, and then he was like, no, it's a good picture of him.
Yeah.
And so then Rachel was like, maybe I should take it down. No,
and then again, 10 years later, maybe I should take it down. But Mr. Drummond was on the camp when that boy died. So
he still works there.
Yeah, so we find out Johnny is the boy who died 7 years ago. So a question here, I know we're like flitted in between everything, but how did no one know? So why wasn't there any like ghost stories about the boy who died at camp? Did they cover it up? Did they hide the body? I don't know.
I mean, I suppose back in these days, and this is why I don't know, point horrors work so well without the social media and stuff like that. But I bet if they were close to town, if they were close to a library, they could have gone to the microfilm section, get the old reels going, get the newspaper story up, and there'd be a small newspaper story somewhere. But they just, I guess maybe it wasn't common knowledge, or maybe they just skipped a year. Maybe they skipped a couple of years. They were like, we won't do camp because of what happened last year to little Johnny, and we'll cut our losses, and we'll pick it back up in a couple of years when everyone's forgotten about it.
Oh dear. I was like, shouldn't the camp be closed down for like health and safety issues? A boy died and like no one seems to know other than the people there that were there.
That's it. This is why I'm so fascinated by camp, because it really is just like a thing where you send your children away like for the whole summer, and they're looked after by teenagers who are more interested in each other than the safety of those who are entrusted into their care.
So we're talking there about Tim and Michelle. So the first time I've ever found Michelle in a point horror so far, I think. So Michelle, but boo.
Oh yes, your namesake.
But no, that Tim and Michelle were. Karen's put Drummond was a legit adult who was fairly present in a point horror, but it makes a nice change actually. Unlike Tim and Michelle, who kept disappearing for like batteries for the torch.
Of course they did.
Oh, what else was it? It was like
they took a delivery
to town, a delivery of paper towels. That was it. And they were just never around. So I think they were going off having like some sexy times.
I think so.
They were just like, and they kept like turning up at like after everything had happened. They're like,
hi guys,
it's fine.
What's going on?
It's no problem. Just get on with the day. Come and wash the dishes. Come and cook the food. Oh dear. And I think the whole were they there when they were doing the prank? So the prank where Rachel kind of stays in the. It was the slug, the letter.
The slug that wrote the letter.
Oh my gosh, that is a serious point horror. The leaves prank. She had to stay in the cabin.
Yeah.
And then obviously she realised something was wrong, so then she goes out without the flashlight, walks around a bit, and instead of going back in the cabin, with the door open, she goes to the lodge. And I think Tim and Michelle like turn up at the end, and they're like, "What happened?" Oh, they were useless.
Yeah, they were useless. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Raj's put Tim and Michelle didn't do much. No, they didn't. And then Karen's put, I think Tim and Michelle were off behind the bike sheds. Yeah,
probably.
Definitely. Yeah, so Stacey, who we briefly talked about earlier, I think she might have been my favourite character, other than maybe Rachel. I think I've talked myself into Rachel now. But
yeah.
I loved Stacey. So she was like our typical blonde point horror character. And then she had a fear of like drowning and fear of like drowning, but only in lakes. She could swim any other time.
Yeah.
But lakes,
it's very specific.
It was very specific. And it made me laugh that first time when Steve threw her off into the lake and then she was like drowning.
That made you laugh.
It made me laugh only because she was like, "Oh, but I'm not afraid of boats." No, and then later on, that thing happens with the boat.
She is now.
That made me laugh.
Yeah.
But I do tend to laugh at when they're having like all these awful accidents. But what really made me laugh at that point, that first time when she got through in the lake, was Linda. Who she was like went all Baywatch style, like stripping her clothes off to like go and save her.
Yeah,
it could have been like a whole different point horror there.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Just imagine it in slow-mo. Oh dear. But yeah, so she was always after fun, Stacey was. There's always one in the group who likes the fun. I loved how she brought like her radio with her, but then couldn't use it.
No, she's like,
I presume because there was no signal. Because they're in the mountains. She exaggerated a lot. Like, I do think that whole scene that we mentioned earlier with the boat, like, yes, she did have her foot stuck, and I get that, but I do think she was exaggerating just a little bit.
But how did she get her foot stuck in the boat? I don't. Was she having a bad dream and she suddenly kicked her foot out?
I think what happened was she suddenly woke up because apparently she didn't realise the boat had floated out. And I think she was meant to have like jumped up and the wood was rotten and her foot went through, but the boat was already sinking. It was all very traumatic.
Yeah, there's a lot there, isn't there?
Yeah, but I don't think she should ever go near the water ever again. She probably had like a big phobia after all of that. But yeah, I did like Stacey.
I liked her.
She was really good.
She was kind of she was snarky, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Classic snarky point horror, and also used to wear glasses when she was younger, so probably used to be a nerd, and then had a big contact lenses, hair done, big reveal. She was all that style. Maybe the summer following the death of Johnny, possibly.
Because she was on the camp when that happened.
Yes.
So
and she was like, life's for living, life's too short to wear glasses. I do wear glasses, by the way, so just in case anyone's.
Hi, Amy. Amy's put, Georgia, love that you're doing this in a tent. It was a total surprise. Georgia surprised us all. And then another character that I just need to quickly mention is Theresa Terry.
So mousy hair, short mousy hair. Again, everything we need to know. She's quiet,
at the beginning, I thought she was because they called her Theresa and then changed it to Terry.
Yeah, that was really confusing.
I actually wrote them as two different characters in my
where's Theresa gone?
I was like, what? What's happened here? I actually had to go back. But I actually thought she was the villain.
I did.
Most of the way through, I thought it was going to be her. It was her, like, a little suspicious eyes.
And she took a bit of pleasure in some of their fear as well, didn't she? She was kind of like
a little smirk.
And then when, at the end, when they were like, where's Linda gone? She's gone out into the storm. Let's go chase her. And then Terry's like, I'll stay here. And I was like, it's her. What? Yeah. You know, why is she staying? And then she just stayed. And Stacey had already said, well, I'm not staying here. No, I'm not going out there or something. But yeah, Terry stayed. Stacey went. It was all very, so she was, for me, I felt like she was a bit of a red herring.
She was a really good red herring, though, because I was actually fooled. Leroy's put he had a feeling it would be Terry as well. Oh, and Raj. She was like, she was quite withdrawn, wasn't she? She was different from the group as well, which normally you find in a point horror. The different ones are normally them end up being the reveal.
Yeah, different equals murderous.
Oh no.
I know, me too. I said I was weird and strange, but I'm not murderous.
No, we couldn't. No. But she had like a weird fear as well that was mentioned about bugs and bees, and I kind of like wanted like the villain to like do something with that. But I know that Terry wasn't there 7 years ago, so I kind of knew they wasn't going to happen.
Because it did kind of run out of steam in that way. I think because obviously the water and then the snake was such a good fear, and then it was almost they could have done some more. It was interesting that they put Terry in there, and she wasn't really there for any reason then, was she? Because she wasn't in the photo, so she couldn't have a circle put around her face. Yes, that was an interesting one. Maybe she was just purely there for just to put us off the scent.
Suspect her.
But
Karen's put as well, I think Carol Ellis ran out of fears to use on the teens. Stacey had 2 issues with the boats, Mark had 2 issues with the heights, and the snake was used twice. So it's kind of a shame that they kind of like didn't do more. Like
there could have been loads, like claustrophobia, you know, fear of, I mean, arachnophobia, obviously you're out in the
What's your fear, Georgia? What's your fear?
I don't think I really have a fear. I'm completely fearless. No, I'm not really.
I was like
no, I think I'm just, when I'm in a situation on my own and it's like dark or whatever, just every horror film I've ever seen runs through my head, and I'm just like, Pennywise is going to get me or whatever. And it's just, I just, you know, if you like in the house and the lights go off or something, I'm just like, I'll just stay here until someone comes, and like, you know, that I don't really like the dark. I don't think I like not being able to see what's in front of me and where I am. But like, because my husband, he doesn't like snakes. He's got a real fear of snakes, like you. But yeah. Oh, do you know what? I always used to worry that I'd be in a situation like in Indiana Jones where I had to rescue somebody's life depended on me, and you know when he has to reach through and pull that lever and there's all those bugs. That was a big one for me. I don't like bugs and creepy crawlies, like on that scale. That would be.
I think I could probably do that, but if there was a snake in there, I couldn't do it at all.
No.
Definitely not.
No.
But I've got a bit of a weird, I don't know whether this is a fear or a phobia. Maybe that's just the same thing, but cotton wool.
Do you know what?
No, I can't even talk about it. It's that bad.
No, I can see it in your face. I do have another weird phobia that I don't really like to talk about, so I'll tell you about it another time.
Oh, okay.
But it is so weird. And if you tell people, if you tell people about the cotton wool thing, do they like just laugh at you and put cotton wool on you?
Yeah, so I accidentally told someone at my work, and then when they were leaving, because like he kind of like worked on my team, so he was leaving, and unbeknownst to me, he snuck my car key out of my drawer when I was in a meeting. And I can't even talk about it. He filled my car with cotton wool, and when I say filled, Oh gosh, he put it all around the steering wheel,
Shelley,
and
that's
then you know,
awful.
oh, then like he was just like laughing out the window. I mean, to be fair, like I was laughing, like it was a joke. He didn't do it like to terrorise me. Well, maybe. But yeah, we put it like, you know, when you go to your car and you open I had like a handle where you had to put your hand under it, and he put it all under there, everywhere.
So
No.
you poor thing.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it's making my teeth go all funny thinking about it. Yeah, so now I've told everyone, please don't send me cotton wool in the post. I'll be a good girl. I promise.
Oh, be careful next time you get in a sleeping bag.
Oh God, it's like my worst nightmare. Like I can just like feel how I feel when like I go buy cotton wool. So I'd say that is a fear rather. It's like a phobia / fear.
Yeah.
But if anyone asks, it's snakes, because that's like a cool fear. Not cotton wool is like a weird fear. Oh dear, Cameron's put, anyone who does that should be pushed in a muddy puddle. Hi, Booker. Yeah, so I've lost where we are now, because we kind of like went off on a tangent. But normally in point horrors as well, they normally have some like dodgy fashion, and I didn't notice anything in this book at all. They focus more on the million characters that was in the book. Than the dodgy fashion. There was some flannel.
Definitely mentioned some flannel. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And there was a couple of scenes where we got quite a lot of detail with how Rachel was getting ready and having not like pervy, but you know, just like a whole page of her having a shower and drying her hair and putting her shorts on and then deciding she was going to get changed later. Because it was warm now but it'd be cold later, and there was a couple of like unnecessarily detailed sections like that, but
there was
but no real. I didn't really know what Stacey was wearing, or
no, that's what I mean, like it was quite different for a point horror. You normally notice some 90s dodgy fashion or dodgy earrings or something.
Where's the crop tops and short shorts? Exactly.
We missed out, Leroy. We missed out on the short shorts. How rude of Carol Ellis to not give us that pleasure. Now, one person we haven't spoke about is the villain. So spoilers ahead. We'll probably give it away as we've been talking anyway.
Well, it was the only one with red hair.
Red coppery hair.
Yes.
So Linda Dolan was the villain, but was she a villain? She was just more like getting a bit of revenge for
what they did to her brother.
To her brother.
I think Mr. Drummond kind of got her, didn't he? He was like totally on her side at the end, because he was just like, come on, come with me. It's fine. It'll all be okay. And he understood that it was all coming from a place of just trauma and sadness.
Yeah.
And she was just trying to scare them. She wasn't killing.
She didn't kill anybody, unfortunately.
No, there was no dead bodies, only the dead snake.
I wouldn't have minded Jordan being killed off.
Yeah, I wanted to see him a bit more under the spotlight, really. Him making a bit of a tit of himself and being like, you know, a spider or whatever. Because and the bit where she was, I would love to have seen that scene where she accidentally fell down the cliff.
Oh, I know, I'm so sad. So she accidentally fell off a cliff and pretended that she'd hurt her ankle. And then it's Mark, isn't it, who was afraid of heights?
Yeah, he was like, I choose this moment. I choose this moment to conquer my fears by climbing down the cliff to save someone.
Though, for trying. At least he tried.
Probably not the best judgment, Mark.
Yeah, and obviously we got these little insights into what Linda was thinking, because at the start of some of the chapters there was like a paragraph of her thoughts. Obviously we didn't know it was her until the end, but it was like, oh, my plan is coming together, and stuff like that.
You didn't really know right at the beginning that she was there, did we? We didn't, as it went on, it was a bit like, oh, they were you know, I'm scaring them now kind of thing. So yeah, that was really clever. I really liked that.
Yeah.
And there was that scene where was Rachel talking to Linda when she was like, oh, so Mark's just told me about this boy that died. And Linda's like, oh, whoa, a boy died?
Yeah.
Let's pretend to be his ghost.
His ghost, yeah.
And I was just like, wow, the acting skills of that girl.
Next level.
Yeah.
Next level.
Or she was just deflecting to, you know, get the attention away from her. That was just like, and then, but even Rachel was like, maybe not. Don't know if that's appropriate, actually, Linda. And then Linda's like, yeah, maybe not.
Imagine if they'd said, oh yeah, that's a good idea, Linda, and then like she had to actually go through with it, and like that's like her dead brother who broke his neck falling down a hill.
Yeah. I did wonder at one point as well whether he was, because I think sometimes with those kind of like prologues, you really forget about them at the beginning, don't you?
Yeah.
So I'd kind of forgotten the detail of it, so I did wonder whether was he really dead, you know, was this like a big revenge thing, a big plan, and like Linda was his twin sister and they were doing the whole thing together and he was helping her catch the snake and all that sort of stuff. But obviously he really was dead, from a broken neck. So
so did we feel sorry for Linda then, do you think? I did a little bit.
I felt and I think when Rachel found the letters that Johnny had written when he'd been at camp, and that was really sad, and you just really felt for him and how helpless she would have felt. So she'd obviously carried that around. So I did feel sorry for Linda. It was all very elaborate, wasn't it? I mean, how did she know that they were all going to go back? Did they get a list of camp counsellors before they?
That's a point. How did she know?
Yeah.
Too many questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions.
Josh is laughing at Karen because Karen's put, I really wanted Tim and Michelle to be supernatural demons who feed on fear and started a summer camp as a fear buffet.
That is such a good idea.
Oh, we need to write to Carol Ellis.
Yeah.
And like say, look, you missed out here.
Yeah.
This is what we wanted. Leroy's put, Linda was savage.
She was
savage, but for good reason. I mean, if you get a chance to go back and get revenge on the people who bullied your brother and basically made him have the accident.
And she was like, you know, she did well sneaking around that camp, drawing circles around people's faces, and you know, and that was the other thing I was confused about at the big reveal at the end when Rachel was watching the whole thing, and then she was like, so maybe it was those guys who put the dead snake on my bed. So do we think that it was them and it wasn't? I was a bit confused by that bit.
So I took that as that it wasn't Linda who did that. It was actually the people, the 5 of them that was at the camp 7 years ago, trying to like tell her to back off because they were that scared because they thought there was a psycho on the camp that wasn't part of their group. Rachel always thought it was one of the group. But I kind of took it as that they did the snake thing. Yeah, so Linda didn't get that snake out of the bin.
No, what was that about? Maybe if Jordan went and did it when he was like supposed to be getting help for when Linda fell down. I don't think the timeline would work for that, but
it'd be too indecisive. It'd be like, do I pick the snake up? Don't I pick the snake up? He'd spend too much time thinking about it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So did you find it scary, Georgia? Was any aspects of it scary?
I think just no. In even on a point horror scale, I think it was very. It was the only scary bit for me was the bit in the water where she was like diving down, and then because that was really detailed. Like that was a really well written scene, I thought, and I was just like, I feel like I'm drowning. So, but no, not really. I don't think it was. I think when there was a scream, you know, it was Steve screaming, and we found out it was Steve. But
Yeah.
and then they all ran in, and you were like, "Oh, it's a snake. It's okay. It's a snake. It's, you know, we can deal with a snake.
It's just a snake.
It's not a dead body." So no, not really. What about you? Did you think it was?
I found like the going out in the dark with no flashlights like quite scary, because that would really scare me. I am a real wimp. Like I always say I'm a wimp. But I also found when they did finally have a flashlight, and I can't remember who was holding it. It must have been Rachel. And she described like how it was worse with the flashlight, and she could see like the trees and the shadows looked bigger and things. And I thought that was really like creepy.
Yeah, when you had just started saying that, actually, and saying about the flashlight and the dark, I do remember that scene where she was like, it was scarier because she could see the shadows. And that was really good, and it does give you a sense of like being really alone and in unknown surroundings. So yeah, that was. I think the setting was quite, you know, like in the wilderness. It is pretty. It's pretty unsettling. So
I do think like a flashlight in a horror book, like for me, is really creepy. Like I always find it creepy because you can do so much with it.
Yeah.
And like shadows, like different lighting and things, and that just creeps me out. So I
wish I had batteries in mine.
No, it'd be too scary.
No.
You should have just come on with it like, under your chin. That
would have been brilliant. That would have been brilliant.
Oh dear. Yeah, so overall then, just to sum up, were you a fan of Camp Fear? Did you like it overall?
I did. I enjoyed reading it. I must admit, when I first started, I think there was so many characters introduced. I was a bit like, whoa, and I couldn't follow everybody. And because of James, Paul, whatever his name was, everybody had this very similar names. So it was really, I think it once it got going, and the snake incident, I was like, ooh, this is good now, and it sort of picked up a bit for me. But I did enjoy it. And also I was quite distracted when I was reading it, because it was in the weeks leading up to the publication of my book, so I was just a bit like,
bless you.
But that's why I read the first chapter again this morning, just to remind myself. But it was classic point horror, really. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot, and I enjoyed the camp setting, and I thought Rachel was a really good character. So yes.
Me too. Yeah, I liked it. I did get confused over the characters as well.
I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Carol Ellis does do this. I've read a couple of other Carol Ellis books, and she does put a lot of characters in her books. I want to say The Body by Carol Ellis, that had a lot of characters in as well, from what I remember.
Yeah.
So it must be like her thing to like put all these characters in. But then I suppose it's more people to suspect. So she's got a long list of suspects, because especially in this Camp Fear, where they kept like all separating all the time. So they go on these hikes and then they just like separate, and then you've got... That's why I don't think I could pick up who it actually was, and that's why I was wrong. Yeah. So maybe it's like a clever point to put that many characters in, but very confusing at the beginning, especially with the similar names.
Yeah.
And changing Theresa to Terry, just call her Terry from the beginning.
I know, that was really confusing. I tell you what, it reminded me of as well, a little bit. Another point horror, Teacher's Pet, because of the setting again. Because in that, they're like in a kind of camp, aren't they? And they've got all these cabins, and there's lots of trails, and I'm getting lost on the trail, and finding people on trails.
Such a good one, that.
It's a good one, because it's it's about a writer, that one as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. I have to do that one. For the club. It is really good, that one.
So no, it did make me think of that, but I'll definitely read another Carol Ellis one. I was trying to find some information about her, but I couldn't find anything. I've tried looking online, like, to see if there's like a website or anything, but I couldn't. She's like disappeared. Yeah, she wrote another series like Zodiac Chillers or something. So she was obviously that was obviously where her heart was, right, in that sort of stuff. So definitely.
Yeah, Raja's put she was confused, character overload as well. Running Bookworm put I felt the same about the amount of characters. But you will find if you do read more Carol Ellis, I think she does this quite a lot.
Right.
And she loves snakes. She uses
Ah,
snakes a lot. Yeah, yeah.
how
I think in
weird.
My Secret Admirer, she uses a snake as a gift for someone. It's quite clever. And Karen's put it was fun. She gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was quite repetitive with the fears. She could have really deep dived into more scary stuff. Cynthia's put was The Train by Carol Ellis. That was Diane Ho, The Train. That's a really good one. I really, really want to do that for Point Horror Book Club because it's really good.
Yeah, she did The Window as well as My Secret Admirer.
Oh, The Window.
Yeah.
Oh, The Window is an interesting one. That I'm sure
classic
that's got a lot
title,
of
The
character.
Window.
So yeah, that's about they go on like a ski holiday. I think it is it. I think it is. I think they go on like a ski holiday. And she sees something out of the window, and then but she spends a lot of time in the cabin, so she uses like a cabin setting again.
Oh, okay.
If I've got the right book, I might be. I always say this, I might be wrong. But my memory sometimes isn't that good. But thank you, Georgia. Thanks for joining me. Especially in your tent. It's been.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's been really, really good.
I know. Thank you.
Thank you. I've had such a laugh.
Starting
and
to
honestly,
get a
I've
bit
just started
dark here
reading.
now.
Is it? Oh, spooky. But I've just started reading Georgia's book. I'm going to embarrass Georgia now, but I've just started reading this and it's really good. So if you like woody things and witches and magic and stuff, then honestly pick up Georgia's book because I'm loving it so far. And
thank
Georgia's
you.
brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. That was really
I think
good.
we just laughed our way through.
I know. I'm just wondering whether my neighbours heard me talking about the pink marshmallow in someone's face.
Oh, she'd be like, we know what George is up to later.
We just hear like the one side of the conversation. It must be very, very weird. But anyway, no, it's been lovely. Thank you so much, Shelley,
thank you. And
for
thanks
inviting
everyone
me.
No, you're welcome. Thanks everyone for joining in as well, and all the fab comments as usual. And people send me stuff throughout the month as well, like pictures of Camp Fair and pictures of the Point Horror reading, and I just love it. Like, it really makes me really happy and like just smile. So you all make my month.
Aww.
So now I've like gushed and like embarrassed myself. So I'll let you go. So thanks, guys. Oh, thank you, guys. Thanks, Georgia.
Thank you. Bye, Shelley. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.